Hello, my peeps. I hope you got over the Gators' loss on Saturday. If you're still lamenting the Gators' loss, you can grab a tissue. I've got some on my desk. Today's podcast will cover Algebra Nation Workbook page 47. Here we go.
All these are beat the test. All these word problems are going to be challenging no matter what you do. Again, I'm not going to read the actual paragraph. You can if you want to. Pause the video, discuss. I'm going to solve this and then go back and see what do they want. Do they want this letter T? So here we go. I would start by distributing the 50, giving me 50T minus 50 equals 30T. Get my variables to one side, my numbers to the other, and divide. If you subtract 30T over to the left, be really careful here. You would get 20T minus 50 equals what? It's not just gone. If you have nothing left on one side, it is going to be 0. If you have an equal sign, you keep equal sign. If you have an equal sign, you keep it. I move my variables to one side. I'm going to move my numbers to the other. Add 50. 20T equals 50. Divide both sides by 20. If you have a calculator, 50 divided by 20 will get you 2.5. So I've got my head in the way. So let's do it right above 2.5. Where 5 halves are 2.5. What is the distance in miles from Bill's house to the baseball stadium? So let's see, what does T represent? T represents time, everybody. T represents time. So let's go through this question now. We have to read it. Bill is planning to drive from his house to a baseball stadium and arrive in time for the beginning of the championship game. His arrival time depends on traffic. If traffic is light, he'll travel at an average speed of 15 miles per hour. So that's where the 50 came from. That's a rate that is 15 miles per hour. And arrive 1 hour early. So there's where the minus 1 came from, 1 hour early. If traffic is heavy, he'll travel an average speed of 30 miles per hour and arrive on time. So what you have to realize here is this is actually a rate times time equals distance problem. Rate times time equals distance, and they gave you the distance on each side. Again, you'd have to see a problem like this to actually anticipate it again on a test. So in this case, I would take time as 2.5 and plug it into either side, because 30 is a rate times time, 50 is a rate times time, so each side is giving me distance. If I plug in 30 times 2.5, again, if I plug in 30 times 2.5, I will get, plug it into your calculator, right? Multiply it with 1, you guys get a calculator, calculate that, 30 times 2.5, and you'll end up getting, let's see, I'm going to do it in my head actually, 30 times 2.5, so 30 times 2 is 60, after that is 15, so I would get 75. Or I could have plugged it into the other side and still got an answer of 75 miles. In the end, it can be a whole lot of fun. Look at this. Woohoo!
Oh, yeah, we do need to look at this. Excuse me. Brain break. Maybe number 7 should put on a University of Florida? Or is that number 1? Oh, maybe it's 7 minus 6. It doesn't matter. Just put on a Gators uniform. They do the same thing.
Okay, so this question's asking you in the end, which of the following equations can be used to determine the employee's total healthcare costs for that year? So let's see what is different once again. If you notice, they all have 3,626. They all have the same thing here. So what does that mean? It says the total amount an employee pays. So we know they pay 3,626, and that's all right here that I don't have to worry about. Then it talks about the amount of medical expenses they pay again. So they pay this much. They pay this much. Since that's positive, we must be adding here. But then it says percent of expenses paid after the first 500. After the first 500. So after means you have to remove 500 after you've spent it. And you're only paying 20% of that. So again, we're paying another 500. It's not A and it's not B now. But then we're not just paying 20% of it, but we're paying 20% after answer is C. Again, sounds easy, doesn't it? Now, I might make this stuff look easy, but you have to practice all these variations for word problems. There's a few right now that you've seen. You've got a bunch of sample questions you're going to try as well. If you have any questions, especially with these, post on the wall below, and hopefully you guys will be able to attack those